Hey everyone, welcome to the Wilson Homestead. So I thought I would give you a little bit of an update here on the vegetable garden. On my last video, I went through and told you all of the varieties of tomatoes and everything. I'm not going to go that into detail this time. I just want to show you how everything is growing. Got my little helper here, making noise as usual. And you can see I've got some work to do. These tomatoes are going crazy. They're up past the fence. This is fencing. Well, this is not actually fencing. I do have some cattle panels, but they got kind of expensive. So we switched to this, I think it's like reinforcement wire for whenever you put concrete down. And it does get rusty. And it probably won't hold up as long as a cattle panel trellis will, but it's doing the job. But I mean, look at these tomato plants. Now, they are getting sick. See that? And that. I'm probably going to try to get these leaves cleaned up. But what's interesting is I haven't really trimmed on any tomato row except for this one. I did it earlier on, got all of the leaves off of the bottoms of the plant, and this entire row I did that too. And this is my sickest row, so I'm starting to wonder if trimming them and leaving that wound in the plant, does it open them up to more disease? I don't know. Because I've got disease all the way up here on this plant, almost to the top. And the plants that I haven't trimmed, you can see, for the most part, they're healthy. And look at this mess. Look at this mess. I've got to get these tied up. This is ridiculous. These are cherry tomatoes. I think they're white cherries that I have down here, and they're just all over the place, so I'm gonna have to get these tied up because there's actually beans under there. So I've got quite a mess going on, but I mean, I expect to get disease on these plants. That happens every year. And until I can, you know, get some kind of greenhouse or cover or something, this is just what it's going to be, because we get a ton of rain all the time. But look, I've got tomatoes everywhere. Some up there. A little bit of cat facing on that one. Some down there. Look at these. I hate to touch the leaves too much because I don't want to spread stuff around, but look at that. Now, I'm not sure what variety this is that we're looking at right now. Let me see if I can find the tag. Alright, I found the tag. These are Beefmasters that are right here. I've never grown that variety before. It's pretty vigorous though. I only have one more roll of the plastic tie tape to tie these up with, so I'm hoping that that roll gets me through the rest of this season. But the beans are starting to do pretty well. I think these are some kind of wax bean that I have in this bed. These cherry tomatoes are just going crazy. I mean, right here's the top of the trellis, and I mean, they're just gonna flop over. I'm not gonna cut them off or anything. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. But I did actually get to pick 2 ripe cherry tomatoes. Right here I've got 2 sun sugar plants, and it looks like I have another ripe one down in here. You see that? And I really did think that these sun sugars would have been a little bit more disease resistant, but this is my third ripe tomato of the season, and these are actually pretty good. And I don't know if it's because I've been so starved for tomatoes that even this tiny little cherry tomato is going to make me very happy, but I can't wait until the bigger varieties start coming in. But this plant is loaded with fruit. You see right here, this is why I need to get these tied up. That's not good. I have some more beans over here that are starting to bloom. Blooms all over. And, oh, there's a little baby bean. Did you see that? See that little baby bean? So it won't be long until I've got beans coming in. I don't remember what I planted here. Let's see. These are Gold Rush. Cucumbers are starting to do really well to the top of the trellis. Some of them aren't quite there yet, but we're getting there. I haven't harvested any fruit off of these yet, but they are putting out a lot of blooms. See if I can see any little fruit on here. Yep, see right there? There's a little fruit. I can't wait to have fresh cucumbers. And I can't wait to make pickles. See, like cucumbers and squash, they have male and female flowers on the plant, and how you tell the difference is that the male flowers, they just have like a long stem, and then the female flowers, they actually have a tiny little fruit right at the base of the bloom. Got a little bit of parsley going on here. Starting to get choked out by these cucumber plants. I need to get these under control too. I have a beautiful zinnia right here. Isn't that lovely? California Giant, I think. And this flower here is also a California Giant. It's a little bit past its prime though. So I'll probably just cut that one off soon, but you can see we've got buds forming everywhere here. Oh, and look at those tomatoes. These are Sunny Boy. Now this section here is pickling cucumbers all the way up to the end. And then I put in a couple different kinds of dill. There's the dill. I love the smell of dill. But you can see these pickling cucumbers are starting. I have Gomphrena, and look at this. We've got some ants on here. I would suspect that they are farming aphids on this plant. And I'm just going to leave them there because this is a flower plant, so I'm not going to be getting, you know, any produce off of this. So hopefully all the aphids will stick to the flowers and leave everything else alone. But yeah, if I can get a little bit closer, you can see that there are some aphids on there. I'm trying not to shake, but I'm shaking. It's funny though, because they just chose this one plant to do that on. The other Gomphrena plants look good. I don't see any aphids on them. I have a dahlia up here too that I started from seed. Some more dill. A little bit of parsley going on right there. Some more dill. I want to have plenty of dill because most of these pickling cucumbers are going to become dill pickles. Have some warrior bunching onions. I always have to slow down when I say warrior because like I say it wrong every time. But they did really well. I am definitely going to plant those again. My other onions are just not doing very great, but oh well. Sage plant, rocking it out here. I cut it way back and it just got huge again. And I actually, like, I got a little 4-pack of those and I planted 3 of them in this garden, and I ended up ripping 2 of them out because this is as much sage as I'm ever gonna need. Another pretty dahlia here, white one. That's the fun thing about starting them from seed, is because you just don't know what you're gonna get. I suppose that can be kind of annoying too, because you can't really color coordinate your garden, but I think it's a fun surprise. This one's about ready to bloom. Looks like it's gonna be purple. And let's see here. Oh, here's another dahlia. Pretty red one. Very vibrant red. And then over here I have a zinnia, and this one is called Envy. The flowers are green. This one is a pretty old bloom, but it's pushing out some new buds, so that will be nice. This bed on the side of the cattle panel arch is doing really good. I've got different kinds of cucumbers planted to go up the arch, and then I have bush beans on this side, and they're all looking pretty good. I'm pretty sure that this must be a purple variety because you can see that it has purpley pink blooms on it. Very pretty. And then all the way up here we have some sunflowers starting to grow, and the humongous elephant ear, and another dahlia that I started from seed this year. Let me see if there's a better bloom on here. These are kind of aged, so they don't look that pretty, but it's got a ton of new buds on it. A calla lily that the bugs are getting to a little bit, but it's still looking okay. And look at all this crown veg. I've got to get this stuff out of this garden. I haven't done anything to get the weeds out of here, but yeah, it's going to be a big job. So it's a little overwhelming. I've got 4 hot pepper plants here, and they are really starting to crank out fruit. Look at that. They're little tiny things right now. But these are actually, these 3 right here, they're actual, like, patio plants. You can plant them in containers. You don't actually have to put them in the ground. So that's nice if you're doing any kind of balcony gardening. I'm thinking it was like Cheyenne hot patio pepper. So if you have a tiny space that you're growing in, you might want to try something like this. And then I've got a jalapeno up here. And these were from old seeds. Like you've been seeing all over social media that a lot of people that bought jalapeno seeds this year are not actually getting jalapenos. They're getting like something that looks like poblano or something like that. But since my seeds are old, these should actually be jalapenos. I have okra right here. I think it was Clemson spineless. I've never grown okra before, and I thought, well, I'd like to try that. And then this is a gourd plant. This is they call it python snake bean or something like that. But look, it's clear to the top of the trellis, getting ready to go over to the other side. I tried to grow it last year and it bloomed, but it never put out any fruit. So I started it a little bit earlier this year. I started it inside in a pot and then transplanted it into the garden. So hopefully we'll get something off that. I have a black cherry tomato plant right here that needs tied to the trellis. And then we've got more bush beans. These are another purple variety. Look at those blooms. So cool. And then up here I have more zinnias, another elephant ear, and a humongous dahlia that's getting wrapped up in this crown vetch. But this dahlia I I grew from seed last year, and then I saved the tubers and took them inside. I didn't divide it or anything. Like, I just kept all of the tubers in a clump, and then I replanted it, and now I've got this humongous plant, and it's starting to choke out this poor calla lily that's over here on this side. Got some more pretty flowers over here, but look, the Japanese beetles are just wrecking these zinnia plants. I can't remember what variety this is. Oh, there's another bug in there. Look at that. And there's another one of those horrible beetles. But this one's getting ready to bloom too. I think all of these were the same variety. And then I've got some Gomphrena there in the front. And now this row of tomatoes is looking really good. These are all tomatoes that I actually started from seed. A lot of the ones that I showed you earlier I actually bought starts for. These peppers have just exploded with growth. The last video, they looked horrible, and I thought, well, I'm probably not going to get any peppers this year. But I am feeling pretty hopeful now. These suckers are getting huge, and there is a few fruits sitting on in there, so won't be a total loss. Have a couple more peppers over here. Now these are all bell peppers, and I think these first few are also bell peppers. And then these little short ones here, these are Fajir Ozon paprika peppers. Lots going on in there. Down here we have two just regular green zucchini plants. The packet that I sowed actually didn't have a name on it, so it's just green zucchini. I put some beans in all the spots that the corn didn't germinate because I didn't have any more corn seed, but corn is doing pretty well. Looking good. And what's interesting about this, if you watched my last video, I told you that this bed is amended with chicken shit and this bed is amended with horse shit. And you can see how much better the chicken poo does. Crazy. I didn't expect that to happen. I just thought, you know, poo is poo, nitrogen is nitrogen. But like, this kind of makes me regret getting rid of my chickens. Well, no, I didn't get rid of my chickens. I just didn't get any more after they all passed away. But I had a bunch of the run to clean out because we were going to put another animal in there. And so I just scraped everything up that had been aging in that pen for probably, I would say, about a year. And put it in a couple beds. I only had enough for a couple beds. But dang, I wish I would have had a little bit more of that stuff. Now, this section of the garden is getting a little bit crazy. So I had never planted scallop squash before, and I saw some starts at one of our local farm stands, and I was like, yeah, I want to grow that. I had no idea that it was going to get this huge. I got 2 plants here, and I haven't picked anything off of them yet, but you can see that there are a bunch of baby squash in here. So I'm guessing it won't be long until I'm inundated with scallop squash, and I don't even know how to cook them. I've never even ate them before. So if you have any suggestions for how I should prepare some of these, please put them in the comments below. Now I've got to get through this jungle here. I hope there's not any snakes or anything down here because I don't really want to get bit by a snake. And I have really thin shoes on. This is probably not the best thing I've ever done. And you can see, like, my walkways are filled up with weeds. Get out of the way, snakies. Okay, up here I have my melons, which, this isn't going well. I have a sugar baby down in there, and it's like under this massive canopy of this humongous squash plant. And this is a Charente. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But it's like a muskmelon, cantaloupe type deal. I don't see any fruit on here yet, but there's all kinds of male blooms. But yeah, that plant's going to town. I'm guessing that that little guy might not make it unless he starts growing this way. Another sugar baby. You know, actually, I think that that one is an orange melon. Yeah. Which it would be nice if it would start growing this way, because I really want to try an orange watermelon. Okay, this is a sugar baby for sure. I'm almost positive about that. Not much going on with that one yet. Another sugar baby, and this plant is really going for it. See if we can see any baby melons in here yet. No, just bloom so far. Oh, look. There's a baby melon. Hell yeah. And up here, I'm like trying to be so careful. Hopefully if there's any snakes in here, they've already moved on. Okay, I'm not gonna be afraid. We need to get in here and weed eat these walkways because they're just so full of weeds and madness. But we'll have to be really careful over here because these vines are starting to spill out of the sides of this bed. Okay, so sugar baby here. And then this plant right here is a hybrid melon. It's like a muskmelon cantaloupe variety too, and it was like Savor French Hybrid, I think is what the name of it was. But these melons are supposed to be really delicious. I don't see anything happening on here yet. No, not much going on in here. We've got some blooms, but as big as this plant is already, I'm hoping that it does something. I don't have the greatest of luck growing melons. And last year in this bed, I planted several different kinds of melons, and the soil in this bed was garbage. It was like hard packed clay. And so I thought, well, that's why these plants aren't getting very big. And so this spring, we dug all of the soil completely out of this bed and replaced it with better soil, and then topped it with, I actually think that chicken compost went into this bed. So, well, I mean, you can already see the vines are so much bigger than they were last year. Okay, now to get back through this madness here. Like, if I grow these again in the future, I'm gonna have to put them somewhere else, or at least just like have one here and then like not plant them in two beds next to each other, because these, you know, I've got a bed here and a bed here, so it wasn't very good for me to just plant those right there, because now I can't get through the walkway. But I think what I'm gonna do, and I mean, as much green as this plant has on it, I think I'm just gonna go in and trim a bunch of the bottom leaves. That way, you know, I can get through here easier and make the plant look a little bit more tidy. And maybe I can trim some of the ones on that side, so maybe that melon will get a chance to take off. I don't know. I feel like probably I should give that poor little melon some nice fertilizer, since he's trying to compete with this monstrosity. Oh, and look at this. My carrots are finally starting to come up. It's very spotty for the most part. Like this side of the bed, they came up pretty good, and clear down there at the end, there's like hardly anything, but I'm remaining hopeful for carrots. Gotta make some canned carrots for the hubby. Well, that just about does it for the actual vegetable garden. I do have a couple things up on my front porch growing that I want to give you a look at, so let's head up there. Are you ready to go? Let's go up to the porch. Are you coming? Kitty cat. Come on. Are you just going to stay there? I'm going to close the gate, so that means that you'll have to climb the fence to get out. Okay? You look pretty cozy there. Look, she's on some of the weed suppressant there. Are you ready to go up? Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Alright. I'll see you later then. This is kind of shameful. I probably shouldn't even show you. This is what our entire yard looks like. And the reason why it looks this way is because we had 2 different does this year have fawns right in our yard. And so we don't want to like scare them with a lawnmower, because there's like so many. I think there's 3 different babies that are right around here. Actually, one of the does dropped a fawn right up under my peach tree in my perennial bed. So, you know, we don't want to mow and, you know, wreck their little habitat that they have going on here with all this high grass, because they come right out in here and they just lay in the yard. And I like to see them. They're so cute. So, not good for the garden or the plants, but they can't get in my vegetable garden because there's a fence around it. So, the veggie garden is safe from them, but like all of my perennial plants, I'm sure, are going to get munched on. They'll probably eat most of the peaches off of the tree too, but that's okay. My front door urns this year, I did something a little bit different. I went and got 2 begonia plants from our local garden center. They are Griffin begonias, and then I put Tradescantia to trail down the front. They look so good this year. I'm so happy with them. And at the end of the season, before the frost hits, I'm gonna dig up these begonias, put them in pots, and keep them as houseplants. But I'm guessing I'm gonna have to get some pretty huge pots, because these have like doubled in size since I got them. So they are loving this spot. And I've tried so many combinations in these urns over the years, because this is a very tricky spot. This spot only gets like 1 hour of early morning sunlight, and then after that it's shade the rest of the day. So I had to have something that could tolerate the shade and still do well, and this combination is probably one that I am going to stick with. Now, this planter here, you know, like, I feel like it would have been way happier if I would have grown this in full sun. I've got Creepin' Jenny down on the bottom, which looks really nice. That stuff will pretty much grow anywhere. But I have these Osteospermum daisies. These are Proven Winter. I can't remember which one it is, though. Did I put the tag in here? I feel like all I do in my videos is just constantly look for tags. Oh, look, there it is. Okay. Bright Light's purple. So, but it's supposed to be in full sun, so I'm imagining that if this container was in full sun, these would be a lot shorter because they wouldn't be reaching for the sun. And then I have one of the black elephant ears in here too, which is so pretty. This is actually the second year in a row I've tried to grow one of these. I bought one last year and it never came up. And so I bought another one this spring, and finally it came up. So at the end of the season, I'll dig up that, is it a tuber? I think so. I'll dig up the elephant ear tuber and I'll store it in my basement over the winter and then start it in a pot under lights probably in March so it can get a head start. And I probably won't put it here again because it kind of reaches for the light too. It wants to go out there instead of being full. So I might put that one down in the veggie garden next year. And I might get some of these for next year and plant them down in the veggie garden too. I think that would be cool to see how they perform in full sun instead of here in part shade. Here's another pretty cool combination that I did. I've got Prince Tut grass in here, lemon coral sedum, and compact orange sun patiens. And these planters here are just going crazy. Look at that lemon coral sedum. I love that one. I feel like you could just put that in a pot and it would be good to go. But those tut grasses are pretty cool too. My first time growing any of these plants. My front porch tomatoes are doing really well. These, I have actually two plants in here of the same variety. It's called edible potted cocoa, I think. It's supposed to be a dark cherry tomato. And they are just, these are like very small dwarf plants, so that's why I put two of them in the pot. I also put some Dichondra Silver Falls in there with these two plants because it, you know, it just looked a little bit empty, so I thought if that spills over the edge that'll be kind of pretty. But let me get down here and give you a closer look of what's going on in here. Try to get through these porch rails, but you can see there's a ton of little tomatoes on there. See, a bee's after me. And now I'm in a spider web. Good grief. But there's a couple bigger ones on there. I can't wait for these to get ripe so I can try them. And this plant over here, you can see, is a little bit bigger. I only put one in this pot. This is Tumbling Tom Yellow. And it's not really doing much tumbling. I actually saved the seeds from last year, so you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but we've got little tomatoes on. This hanging basket, oh, I just love this one. We've got, it's a Proven Winners Ipomea sweet potato vine. I'm thinking it sounded like Penny Lane. Penny Lace, maybe? And then I've got several different kinds of begonias in here. I've got some tuberous begonias that I've saved for years. This is one of the tuberous begonias that I save every year, and this one is too. I love the color of that one. But the other ones I just got at a garden center. They're, I don't think they're tuberous begonias. They're just like an upright annual begonia. But I love this sweet potato vine. So cool. And it's not really, like I thought it would be taking over the whole pot by now and like trailing down to the porch. But it's, you know, it's staying pretty compact. Okay, my camera battery is just about dead, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed looking at all of the updates and progress of my plants, and I hope to see you next time here on the Wilson Homestead. Bye, guys.